Day 10 of Green Bay Packers training camp is officially in the books, and man, training camp is just flying by. It's already week 3 of training camp. We're about to see the first preseason game against the Jets this Saturday. Extremely excited for that. Let's go over all the main takeaways from today's training camp practice. I also just released the highlight video from today's practice. You can find it over my channel. It's the video right before this one, which includes some exclusive 1v1 reps and an awesome 11v11 touchdown. So if you want to go watch that, definitely click on that video after this one. Also, go down and click that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you want to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers throughout the entire season, we post updates every single day of practice. There'll be live streams during games. You'll find everything you need about the Green Bay Packers here on this channel, so definitely don't hesitate to go click subscribe. All right, so let's dive right down into this thing. First, going over a couple things Matt LaFleur said before practice this morning. Rasheed Walker is out with injury right now, and LaFleur said he doesn't anticipate, quote-unquote, anything too long-term, and Walker is working through a groin injury, so we'll likely see a lot of Jordan Morgan at full-time left tackle, at least until Rasheed Walker returns, and that was the case today. We saw that a lot in family night as well. LaFleur said everyone on this roster should be ready to play in the first preseason game. That's, of course, this Saturday versus the Jets. Now, will we see a ton of starters the majority of the game? Probably not. There will also likely be players that don't end up playing, but maybe we will see the starters for a drive or two, which I think we all want to see anyways to get them ready for the regular season. Now, going over some roster news before we dive into the takeaways from today's practice. The Packers signed a familiar face at cornerback, signing Corey Ballentine to the roster in a corresponding move, waiving cornerback Gregory Jr. This is great depth for the cornerback room, but not only that, for also special teams. Ballentine has spent the past few seasons with the Green Bay Packers, knows the Jeff Hafley system, and of course, with the Nate Hobbs injury, which we'll get into here in a second, the Packers need rotational guys in that cornerback room that know the system, that they can pretty much plug and play, and Corey Ballentine is that. The Packers also made another signing right before practice today, signing another familiar face, and it is guard Lecitus Smith. He made the Packers practice squad after training camp last year, but then was poached off the practice squad by the New England Patriots, spent the season with them, was most recently with the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason through OTAs and minicamp, but then was waived in the middle of May. Now the Packers are bringing him back, and the Packers' corresponding move was to waive wide receiver Sam Brown, the undrafted free agent out of Miami. Just unfortunately suffered an ankle injury, and now the Packers have waived him. Other injury news, I just mentioned it a little bit here before, is that we got an update on Nate Hobbs. I wasn't really sure why he was out of family night and the practice prior to that, but Bill Huber put out an article last night saying that Packers cornerback Nate Hobbs has had knee surgery. This was definitely out of the blue. Now, before you get too up in arms about this, after you hear knee surgery, and it gives you PTSD from the David Bakhtiari situation, this is a minor procedure, and he could return in about 3 weeks, giving him time to get back in the swing of things before week 1 versus Detroit. The procedure was more preventative than anything. Hobbs might have been able to play through it all season with no troubles, but with week 1 more than a month away from today, Hobbs and the team opted to take care of things now to ensure he'll not only be ready for the season, but he'll be able to get through the season. So he'll likely miss most of the rest of training camp, giving more snaps to Carrington Valentine, which I like. Obviously, I want Hobbs to also be in the swing of things as he's a new addition to this roster, but I feel like I have seen enough from Nate Hobbs thus far in training camp. So hopefully we can get him back maybe a week or week and a half before week 1, really getting the swing of things there, because he is the starting cornerback opposite Keyshawn Nixon, and hopefully there's no setbacks with this knee issue. Other injury news, Tucker Kraft returned to practice today from a groin injury. We heard Matt LaFleur talking about that earlier over the weekend, and that they're basically going to give him a few days off after we didn't see him during family night, and he did return today. Quay Walker also returned for the first time into team sessions today in a limited fashion, and then we talked about Rasheed Walker. He was rehabbing, but in pads. As for the other did not participate, Emmanuel Wilson still out with that knee injury. Tay Wick still out with the calf injury. Talked about Nate Hobbs, Rasheed Walker. Travis Glover still out with the shoulder injury. Kamal Haddon still out with the hip injury. Then all the others have been out. Aaron Mosby, Marshawn Lloyd, Christian Watson, Colin Oliver, and John Williams. Quickly to go over these starters to start team sessions in today's practice. Yet again, Matthew Golden, the starting wide receiver opposite Romeo Doubs. I think that's 5 or 6 straight practices where he opens up as a starter in teams, and I don't think he's looking back. He had another good day of practice, just stacking success on success. And again, I've said it multiple times, but this guy looks like the real deal. Of course, let's wait until we see it in the regular season, but I think we're going to see it early from Matthew Golden. The offensive line without Rasheed Walker was Jordan Morgan at left tackle, Aaron Banks at left guard, Elton Jenkins at center, Sean Ryan at right guard, Zach Tom at right tackle. But they also did rotate in some Monk and Donovan Jennings at left guard in teams as well. As for the defense, it's as normal, but with Quay Walker back, so he was back into the mix in teams at that Mike spot. And also Isaiah Simmons got the start at the strong side backer spot. So in base, it was Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, and Isaiah Simmons. Now, Isaiah McDuffie did rotate in quickly thereafter, but interesting of note that Isaiah Simmons did technically get the start to start team sessions. We also saw some Zane Anderson rotating in with the ones today at safety for Xavier McKinney. Just overall, a lot of rotating in today's practice. Now let's go over all the main takeaways from the 11v11 portions from today's practice. Teams opened up with a sack from both Rashawn Gary and LVN. We've talked a bunch about LVN in the past week. Ever since the pads have came on, LVN has been having good practice after good practice. You love to hear it. You love to see it. Right? If LVN can take that year 3 jump, this pass rush can hit the next level. And that's what we need from this defense for sure. The Packers also used a lot of Savion Williams today. He's been kind of on the back seat, second team, third team. They put him in some with the first team today, and they were just utilizing him a lot, really just seeing what they can do with him. He caught a few passes in today's practice. He also ran the ball a few times in today's practice, and he was also even a gunner on the punt team and got right down there right away. So Packers using him a ton today in today's practice. Love to see it. It was an up and down day for Javon Bullard. There's a lot of discussion right now about Javon Bullard, how he consistently keeps getting beat deep in practice, and that was the case today in 1v1s and also 11v11s. A slot fade from Jaden Reed. Now 1v1s favor the wide receiver, but Jaden Reed still beat him pretty badly in a slot fade. And then also during 11v11s, the explosive play of Jordan Love finding Romeo Doubs for a 60-yard touchdown. You can see Javon Bullard, I put the clip on the screen, pretty much left in the dust of Romeo Doubs. I can't really see what the defense is in. I think it was man coverage, and that's something that Javon Bullard has been struggling with, since joining the Green Bay Packers last year, is pure passing downs, man coverage on deeper routes. That's what he struggled with. He really needs to work on that. But Javon Bullard also had a really nice play on Romeo Doubs on a screen pass, and that's kind of what we get from Javon Bullard. Around the line of scrimmage, early down, short stuff, running plays, he's firing to the football, and he's there a lot of the time all over the field. It's just in those pure passing downs, and that's why I've talked about, I think in pure passing downs, the Packers will drop Bullard off the field, rotate Nate Hobbs into the nickel, and bring on Carrington Valentine at cornerback, as Nate Hobbs is more of that pure coverage corner out of the nickel, in my opinion. Talked about Matthew Golden. He just continues to stack success. He had an amazing 1v1 rep versus Keyshawn Nixon. Just executed a perfect diamond release slant versus inside shade coverage from Keyshawn Nixon, threatening vertical, which anytime Matthew Golden threatens vertical is going to net similar results because he is such a deep threat, fast wide receiver. Cornerbacks have to respect the 9 from Matthew Golden. He does a perfect job swiping underneath and getting wide open on a slant. I see the Packers, early this season utilizing Matthew Golden on slant routes, just getting the football in his hand. He also had a nice catch in team sessions on a nice post route thrown by Jordan Love in a little bit of a contested situation. Him and Love just continuing to build that rapport. It was a much better day for Jordan Morgan at left tackle. We saw him struggle pretty mightily in family night. He had 2 really good reps in the 2-minute drill versus both Baron Sorrell and Kingsley Enagbare. As we talked about Rasheed Walker earlier, Jordan Morgan's going to get a lot of opportunity here at left tackle and going to have every chance to potentially win that job at starting left tackle. Also, Will Shepherd is quietly having a really nice camp. I've seen a couple comments about Will Shepherd and how no one's talking about him because he had a really nice touchdown touchdown and family night, but he also had a nice deep post that he got wide open behind the defense in the 2-minute drill from Malik Willis. So nice camp for Will Shepherd thus far. The 2-minute drill, speaking of which, for the second team, ended in a Malik Willis to McCole Hardman touchdown on a double move on 4th down. So McCole Hardman continuing to make plays, and Malik Willis. He also converted the 2-point conversion, firing a ball into Julian Hicks. This was likely Malik Willis's best practice of camp thus far. Now, as for the first team during the 2-minute drill, the defense definitely won this one. It ended up stalling out on 4th down, but then the Packers rotated into more of a kick situation at the end of game where the offense had a play or two to kind of move the ball up a tiny bit more to give Brandon McManus a better shot at making a quote-unquote game-winning field goal. And McManus hit both kicks for the win in both situations, which even included a 57-yarder. McManus finished today 5 of 6, did miss a kick from 46 yards that went off the upright. And overall, Brandon McManus in training camp in 2025 is 44 of 46, almost perfect, which is just so great to hear. So great to hear. Last year at this time, we were talking about Braden Narvison, and man, just what a mess. And I'm so glad Gutekunst made that phone call, brought in McManus, and all of a sudden it was just like poof, our kicking woes are gone. So those are all the main takeaways from day 10 of Green Bay Packers training camp. A busy week ahead of us as we have a practice 3 straight days today, tomorrow, and then Thursday, then a day off Friday, and then, of course, that first preseason game versus the Jets on Saturday. I really appreciate you guys coming by to the channel. Again, go click subscribe to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers this season, but I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Pack Go.